begin with the themes of the novel today. So, the first theme, which is underlined in the novel, is sin. The story highlights the Puritan belief that people were born sinners. This was the belief that the Puritans held, that people are born sinners and they can be purified only through religion and strict rules. Now, the Puritan community of Boston, especially, considered Hester a sinner and they wanted to make an example out of her for the rest of the society. That is why they don't execute her but allow her to live with that letter of apparent shame on her clothes. But Hester's attitude towards her punishment and her plans to rekindle her romance with Dimmesdale tells us that she never considered her affair a sin. She even plans to elope with her lover. Now, the narrator, through these events, actually supports Hester, and instead he points towards the two actual sinners, Dimmesdale and Chilling. This is the first theme, the first evident theme of the story. The second is individuality and conformity. Now, the novel works as a testimony to the hypocrisy which was the essence of the Puritan society. The Puritans laid down such rules and they laid stores by strictures which didn't allow them to embrace their individual selves. Since it was impossible to escape their individuality, they ended up being hypocrites in order to fit in. Okay. Now, Hester, who is a nonconformist, she becomes a shining example of individuality as she transcends the social boundaries and resists the constant rebukes at the hands of this society. Another example of individuality in the same novel is Hester's daughter Pearl, who is absolutely non-conforming. She will not give in to the demands of the society no matter what. The third evident theme is Puritanism, of course. The narrator of the novel discusses the hypocrisy of Puritanism at length and their disdainful idea of fusing law with religion. Their laws, the society's laws, are made up of religion, and according to the narrator of this novel, it's a bad idea to fuse law with religion. And the Boston society victimizes Hester to justify their own shallow points. Okay? The narrator, however, heralds Hester as a person who uses her free will and non-conforming nature as strengths. Her resistance helps her in shining out as a legend instead of breaking her down. The fourth underlying theme is nature. Okay, in this novel, nature actually stands in contrast to the elite puritanical society. It is only in the lapse of nature that free will is able to manifest. Okay, it's only in the forest where Hester is able to think freely, where Pearl is always playing. She finds refuge more in forest than amongst the kids of the society. And there's another character called as Mrs. Hibbins, who is apparently a witch. So she goes to the forest to practice her occult. It is also the place where Hester is able to reunite with Dempsey. It is only in the forest that they make plans to elope. It is only in nature that Pearl finds solace. And nature, in contrast with the harsh puritanical society, is forgiving and accepting instead of punishing. Therefore, nature plays an important role for the characters of this particular novel. The fifth and the most hidden theme is that of occult. The fact that the novel is situated in the town of Salem associates it with a background of witchcraft. If you look up witch trials, the most famous witch trials happened at this town of Salem. So they are known as Salem witch trials. However, the novel deals with the concept of witchcraft sympathetically. It addresses the issue of creation of witches due to excessive suppression by the rigid puritanical society. People like Mrs. Hibbins resort to occult in order to express their individual self better. And since Pearl is also a non-conformist and a freely thinking human being, the puritanical society believes her to be demonic and possessed. That's all the themes that are there, the evident themes that I could find. If you can find any other theme, you can share it with us. We'll move on to symbols now. The first symbol is of the colors red and black. So the color of Hester's letter is red. That's why it's called the Scarlet letter. And it symbolizes the glow of Hester's passion. She's an extremely sensitive person, extremely passionate person, whereas black symbolizes the devil and sin. So, if you remember, the tombstone of Hester and Dimmesdale is of black color on which a scarlet letter is embedded, engraved. So, it's on the surface of black that the red glows. So, what is sin for the rest of the community, that becomes a breeding ground for passion. Okay, so red and black. Of course, the scarlet letter is also another symbol. Now, the Puritans mean this letter to be a symbol of Hester's shame, but as she grows, the letter comes to symbolize many other things. It comes to mean Abel when Hester becomes a seamstress, and Dimmesdale refers to her as angel twice in the novel. By the end of the novel, the letter transforms into a symbol of Hester's individuality and her triumph over the many forces who seek to defeat her. Paul is a living embodiment of Hester's and Dimmesdale affair. So, for the rest of the society, she's basically a symbol of sin. Okay, but as her name suggests, she is also the purest soul of all the characters in the novel. Her character itself is symbolic of purity and innocence. That's all the symbols that I could find in the novel. If you can find any other symbol, then you can share it with the rest of the class. We'll stop the class here with themes and symbols today. In the next class, we're going to do the character analysis and we're going to discuss the probable questions and wrap up the novel. Thank you so much.